Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Kyara Lombre of Lab House Studios. Kyara, it's awesome having you on the show.
I'm excited to be on the show. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Super excited to have you on. And before we jumped in, I want to read a little bit more about Kyara so you can hear about all the awesome things that she's doing. And Kyara is a Washington native and earned a bachelor's degree in communications and media studies at Bowie State University before moving on to Florida State University, where she pursued her master's in television and film. When she returned home, she worked for Maryland Public Television, where she produced and directed documentaries like Voices of Baltimore, which chronicled the 2015 Baltimore riots for Freddie Gray. She quickly realized that her talents and dreams were often being boxed away into a cubicle. She quit her job with MPT as an associate producer and started her media company, Lab House Studios, which specializes in outdoor and indoor portrait photography. With over 10 years of unique experience behind the lens and behind the scenes, she has continued to define and redefine her craft as a contemporary, modern, simplistic, and clean, leading itself to dynamic, engaging, and beautiful images. Ultimately, her mission is to create memories that will last a lifetime. Here, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
I am. I'm very excited.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Super excited to have you on the show. And I know I read a little bit about your bio, and I know it's great to hear that you went with that little quiet voice sometimes we hear when we're getting started and we don't know what to do or what not to do. So could you take us through a little bit more of that in your CEO story and what led you to kind of start your business?
Okay, so when I went to film school, so I started out being a filmmaker.
Mhm.
So I've worked like on the set with Nike and Goodwill. I did a few projects with them, and then I produced some short films. One of them was screened at the White House, so that was pretty exciting.
Nice.
And I think essentially like doing those things was kind of like my true passion. So being a producer with Maryland Public Television, that wasn't enough for me. It wasn't fulfilling enough. Like I wanted to tell more stories. I wanted to see what else was out there. And then I think also as once I moved on to being a business owner myself, I felt like it was important for me to help other business owners as well. So when I first started out, I started out doing videos. So
Mhm.
branding videos and short videos about, I guess, documentary style videos for artists and things like that. Um, and that's kind of how I was able to tell their stories. So it's still kind of the story making kind of things I was doing when I first left MPT. But from there, when people see that you're doing video, they also assume that you can take pictures as well. So I was doing video for a very long time. And then my friends and family, they were asking me, well, can you take some family photos of us? Can you take some pictures? And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, maybe I think I know how to take still images.
Mhm.
So I just picked up the camera that I had purchased for video, which is a Canon, and went out and was taking pictures. It was quite an adjustment with the settings. I had to learn new settings and I had to learn how to pose different people and, that sort of thing. But once I started taking pictures and I found out I was good at it, I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty fun. It's exciting. It's still telling a story, but just through just a still image. So, and then it's also, it has, as far as like comparing it to filmmaking, you get to direct your clients. You get to direct them on how
Mhm.
they pose, the expressions that they give. So it's still sort of in the same, like they have the same principles as far as video and photography. It's just taking different pieces of those theories and principles and applying it to just creating a still image. And from there, it just grew and grew and it became bigger than the video. So now I strictly mostly do photography. I do some video on the side, but mostly photography. And I just gained a just love for it. And yeah, that's basically how it started.
Nice. I absolutely love that. And it's so funny how a lot of times in our lives and obviously in our businesses as well too, so we have kind of like a set I guess, way that we're going to start our business or set thing that we're going to do. And then we start to try out other things. And next thing you know, that thing becomes bigger than you said, the video part
Yeah,
that you got
yeah.
started with. And I love how you talked about that kind of that storytelling piece and how it's very similar to, or somewhat similar, I should say, to what you're doing with video, but it's kind of a different modality. So you have that
Hmm.
opportunity to kind of maybe, express or tell that story in a unique way.
Yes, for sure, definitely.
Awesome. So I know you touched on it a little bit. Could you take us through exactly like how you serve your clients, like how exactly that process goes and the type of photography that you do as well?
Okay, so I pretty much do a lot of different types of photography.
Mhm.
So portraits, lifestyle, cover events, product photography. Um, I've done sports photography. I guess that's mainly it for the most part.
Mhm.
And then I do a lot of branding photography as well. So branding and lifestyle, they kind of blend together a little bit, especially with social media today. And sorry, what was the second part? You said
And
what?
just how exactly that process works. Do you have a
Oh,
kind of a
okay.
set process? Hmm.
Yeah, so to do those things, it's kind of like I guess like a workflow. Is it?
Right.
That's
Yeah. Hmm.
okay. So yeah, the client can go online, see my works, and then from there it's kind of sort of like, okay, maybe I should start over.
Go ahead.
So,
And hold on one second. I'm just going to clap real
okay,
quick. All right. Go ahead.
okay, I'm sorry. So for the type of photography, I always envision myself being a high-end picture people.
Hmm.
So when you go to my website, I want it to be very, very easy to book. You kind of know what to expect before you get there. You're prepared. And then you go to your session, you spend time with the photographer, you get to know the photographer, and then you'll get your edited images after you finish. They'll come back within 5 to 7 days, and then you're all done. So basically, I'm trying to create this seamless process,
Hmm.
but you're getting quality portraits at the same time. So our main focus is delivering high quality images at an affordable price.
Hmm.
So with picture people, you can get like decent pictures, but you can tell like the image is very flat, it's very one note. Everybody's going to look the same as far as lighting and how the overall quality comes out. But for me, because I mostly do portrait photography, documentary style, and product images, that's my main focus. I just want to create a very customer service oriented experience where it's seamless. You go online, you book, you know what to expect, you're prepared, and you get your pictures within 2 to 5 days. So that's kind of the structure of it now, and that's where I want to see it grow. So more locations, and yeah, from there just get bigger and bigger.
Nice. I absolutely love that. And I think that kind of those nuances, I think so many times and so many different industries, and you definitely, touched on it so well that you kind of forget that kind of customer focused aspect when we're kind of running a business. And I love how that is really at the forefront because I think, in my opinion, a lot can be done very well if you kind of set and know exactly what is to follow as far as the experience and setting those expectations. So I love the fact that you have that way that people can go, they can book, they can figure out exactly what they're going to do, they know what to expect, and when that opportunity happens, you do the shoot, and then from there they know exactly what to expect. Because I think so many times it cannot flow seamlessly, and a lot of times that isn't a great experience for the customers at the end of the day.
Yes, and that's so true. And basically, it's been by experience. Like throughout the years, you find what loopholes there are in your business and you learn
Mm-hmm.
from it. And then it's your job to improve on that. And I think at the end of the day, for me, it's I want to be able, I want to create um, a lifetime product of images for the client, but I also want them to have like a lifetime experience.
Mm-hmm.
So when you come, I want to get to know you a little bit. I want to develop these relationships because they're very, very important in business. And I felt like in the beginning, I was just very much so one note, like just I'll meet you there. We'll take the pictures and then you'll get them in 3 to 5 days. But now we actually get to know you a bit. You know, if you want to meet with us, you can talk to us via Zoom. If you want to explain, you can give us a call. You know, there's questions that we ask you to help you flush out your story. Because a lot of times clients don't know their story. They don't know. They just see your work and they're like, oh, that's great. I want pictures like that. But someone else's story is not your story. So we need to help you clarify your story and help you tell it effectively. So your story doesn't get muddled, or you're telling someone else's story just because you like what their images are or what their brand is. Their brand is not your brand. So now for us, it's about really, really getting to know the client, developing those relationships so we can effectively tell their story. So we try to do a lot of that up front. So when we get there, we know exactly what we need, and then you can get your images back quickly.
Yeah, nice. And I absolutely love that. And like you said, because so many times you don't realize that the product that you see or the image that you see has a lot of behind the scenes, as you talked about evolving in the business, but also really understanding that person's story. And that is the manifestation of those conversations, of that knowledge. And I love that you take that into account. So would you consider that to be what I call your secret sauce, the thing you feel kind of sets you apart and makes you unique, that you're able to kind of take it, from, what would be like a photo into having a really, really great lifelong experience?
Yes, I would agree, definitely. A lot of people after the session say they have such a good time and they'll be back before they even see their images. They will, when they leave, they'll say, oh, I'll be back. I'm going to book. You'll see a lot of just different sessions come in. I'll be back. Or they'll say, via text message, they'll say, oh, I had such a good time today, or if I'm looking for something in particular, they'll share that information at the end of the session. Or if they're looking for something in particular that's unrelated to photos, they'll share that information. So yeah, it's been like, I guess, yeah, you can say that's kind of my secret sauce is, yeah, developing those relationships. And I actually attribute it to a book that I read earlier this year. It's called The Five Keys to like a successful, let me see, what is it called? I had it written down somewhere. Five Keys to Powerful Business Relationships. I read that book earlier this year and I purchased it from the dollar store. I was in the
Yes.
dollar store looking around for different things and I saw, oh, wow, they sell books at the dollar store. So
Right.
I started looking through and I found that book and I'm like, okay, yeah, I need to read this. I need to know what the five keys to a successful business, I need to know what those are. And they said it's relationship building.
Hmm.
It's building those connections with people and networking and making it personal, making the experience personal. I think that's what's really, really important for sure.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I appreciate you for breaking that down. And I didn't know there were books at the Dollar Tree either. So I would definitely be running around there too, and especially such great books at that. So I think it's so huge because I think we forget that aspect in business so much, about that human aspect, about the relationships, about building and growing that, whether that be us going to now a virtual networking event or face to face, like we used to do, but also our clients, and being able to kind of develop that relationship and that experience and really tap into that human aspect. So I absolutely love that. And so I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO hack. And you might have already mentioned this, but this might be like an app or one of those books or a habit that you have that
Hmm.
make you more effective and efficient.
um, Effective and efficient. It doesn't have to be a book.
It doesn't have to be, it can be.
Okay. um, I think that there's so many.
Yes, that's what make it fun.
um, I think what's really, really important is having a trying to think now when I first started. um, When I first started or now? Now, right?
Either or, yeah. It might be
Okay.
something that you feel like has helped you when you started, or even might help you now still too.
I think for me, it doesn't have to be like anything tangible.
The
Okay.
idea is that it's something tangible.
Tangible. Okay. Okay. I would say um having a seamless workflow process. I think that is the secret for, at least from my perspective. Um, because I guess for, at least for photographers and videographers, people don't get to see the behind the scenes much. They see um, oh, can I cut that? Can I start
Yeah.
over?
Yeah.
It made me think of something else
Okay.
that I
I'll
think
call
is
it.
really important.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. So, at least for my industry, I think what has helped me is to allow people to see what I do behind the scenes.
Mm.
People only get to see the final product, but they don't get to see the amount of work and the who you are and what you do unless you let them in. And that's how they get to know you and feel you and want to work with you. So I do behind the scenes videos for my followers that follow me on my personal page. So it gives them like a better idea of who I am. I get to articulate different things that I do, and people can also comment, and I can engage with them, and I kind of develop my own community. So I think it's important to probably allow people to see what you do, and they see how passionate you are about it and how much knowledge you have, and then from there you develop your own community of supporters. And believe it or not, those people will market you more than you probably market yourself. They're going to be resharing your post that you show them behind the scenes that's really fun, or they're going to be talking about you if they meet someone, because you've let them into who you are and what you're doing. So I would say that's definitely something that, like, entrepreneurs or anyone, at least and going into my field, is allow people to see who you are and what you're doing, and see all the effort and the work that you're putting into it, because people admire that, and people love people who are like humble and have really great energy. And if that's who you are and you want to show your community that, and they'll do all the work for you, you don't even have to.
Yeah, that's extremely powerful. And I think definitely in this day and age where we have that ability to be able to do that, sometimes you don't realize the excellence that you see is really a process. And as you mentioned, talking about yourself and presenting yourself and showing and telling our own stories is so important, but also how we master our crafts and the things that we do in our respective fields in order to get there. I think when you're able to kind of open the door and let people in on that, it's truly phenomenal. And so now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. And this could be a word of wisdom or piece of advice. It might be something you would tell yourself if you were to hop into a time machine, or you might tell a client as well too.
I would say probably look for a mentor, someone who is seasoned in your industry, who is willing to mentor you while you are getting started. I wish I would have 5 plus years ago, really done my homework and did my research to find someone that could take me through this journey. And it doesn't have to be like a serious commitment, but just someone I can reach out to who's in my field that I could ask for guidance. I had a few people, but they weren't at the level I wanted to go. Like,
Mhm.
they kind of, just very like sole proprietorship, kind of just, they are their own entity. And for me, I'm not my own entity. I'm just trying to build my business as its own entity. So look for someone like that to kind of help me through the process. So yeah, that's probably what I would say, is find someone who can mentor you that is on the same track you want to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the seven habits of highly effective people is begin with the end in mind. And as you said, when you
Hmm.
start to surround yourself around those people, have those mentors, or even like you said, sometimes we forget that we can also find those things in like books and things like that and all that knowledge and get that mentorship there as well too. But again, not to say you shouldn't take advice from somebody who isn't where you are, but I think if you know where you want to be, the more you align yourself with those people and start, listening to that information, reading that information, that increases your likelihood of being there as well. So I love that nugget. And so now I wanted to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So Kiara, what does being a CEO mean to you?
This is a hard question. I saw it and I was like, how am I going to answer this? What does it mean to me? What does it
Mhm.
mean to me to be a CEO? Um, that is a very great question. And I really did not take the time to really like let that sink in. Um, but it means so much. I know it probably sounds like very just, I don't know, basic, but for for me being a CEO means like I'm living out my dreams. Like, never in a million years when I was younger, I thought I would be doing what I am now and impacting so many lives, like the sacrifices that I've made, the struggles, the ups and the downs have all been worth it to know that I control my own destiny. I I make my own decisions and I am doing absolutely what I love to do. So I think for me, being a CEO is just basically living out my dreams. That's what it has been. Um, but I think it also means that you're a leader. Being a CEO means that you have a responsibility to lead the people under you and not only trust them, but communicate to them how um, important they are to your company, so you can see the company thrive as well. So, um,
Nice.
yeah, I guess overall, I think, being a CEO means, you're being a leader and you're creating relationships that are going to help your business grow and help impact um, any future creatives or people in your industry, to help them lead at some point and also be CEOs.
Nice. Well, I think that's a true definition in my perspective of leadership is so many times leaders are able to obviously lead themselves, but I think also to be able to develop and create and cultivate other leaders as well. And I love how you talked about, living, and breathing and seeing your dreams come true. Because I think so many times when we have that vision, sometimes, especially if you push it or you see it, in a grand light, there's some days you may not honestly believe it. And I know I can experience that and I can definitely say that. But I think when you start to put in the work, you sacrifice, you have the really phenomenal days and you have the not so phenomenal days, but you get there and you continue to kind of move forward. I think it's definitely one of the more exciting things to do. But I think it's also humbling and very grateful for getting the opportunity to kind of live that out. So I love how you articulated that and said that and kind of, resonated with me. And I'm sure everybody is listening as well too. So truly appreciate that definition. And I appreciate your time even more. What I wanted to do is pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and listeners know. And of course, how best they can get a hold of you and find out about all the awesome things you and your team are working on.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to have me on this show and speak with me. Um, this is, I just feel honored. So I just want to say thank you so much. And if anyone's interested in what I do and would love to see my photography, they can go to my social media tags. My company's tag is Lab House Studios. You can find that on Instagram and Facebook. Or if you just want to follow me and follow behind the scenes and get to know me a little bit more, you can follow my personal Instagram page, which is Kyara, Kyara underscore Maria, Maria.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much again, Kiara. We will have the links and information in the show notes just so that everybody can follow up with you. But definitely an honor was all ours to get opportunity to hear all the phenomenal things you're doing and all that advice that you gave as well too. So I appreciate you again, and I hope you have a great rest of the day.
Okay, thank you so much.